Hello and welcome to class 281. Let's continue with regular verbs. I'm sorry. You say, oh, Richard, please, let's move forward. Let's go on. We are, but I'm introducing a lot of verbs. And usually with every verb, well, introducing, no. These verbs you already know. I'm reviewing, constantly reviewing verbs. And with each, and the pretext is the simple past or the past participle. With regular verbs, column number 1, the hard D, played, stayed, planned, owned, preferred, etc. But this is only a pretext for me to speak to you with English structure, because I talk about a lot of things. In the class yesterday, I was talking about smiled, and I talked about lady luck, the importance of effort, how to generate more luck in your life by working harder. So I was speaking, I go off on tangents. Salgo por la tangente. Salgo por tangentes varias. I go off con doble F, to go off on. Aquí tenemos preposición doble, off on, que son contrarios. Turn on the light, turn off, but to go off on a tangent, que salirse. See, this is the circle, and you go off sobre una tangente. You go off, salirse por una tangente, to go off on a tangent. And to go off on a tangent, to go off on a tangent. And so, every class, well, the last class I went off on a tangent about the importance of generating greater amounts of luck, entre comillas, quote unquote, luck through hard work. The harder you work, the luckier you usually are. And so I was talking about that. I also talked about Natasha, showing a picture of Natasha. And I talked about studying. And I talked about my university life. Do you remember? When I was in college. So I talk about a lot of different things that bring in additional verbs, additional vocabulary, structures, sometimes structures that are here in this part of the book. So let's go on. So it seemed raised, retired. Yes, at the end of last class, I said I retired last year. It's not true. I didn't retire last year. But probably I'm going to retire this year. Yes, I think. You never know. It's like the bullfighters, you know, they cortan la coleta, they cut off their ponytail, but then they come back 2 years later because they miss the ring, la arena, the arena, they miss the ring, the bull ring. The bull ring is la arena, yes, the bull ring where they fight the bulls. Or sometimes boxers. They come back 2 years later, or maybe 10 years later, or maybe 20 years later. We have a recent boxer who came back after 20 years to box. Yes. Retired, received the first salary in my life. I received, I was 14. I received $60. I was a newspaper boy, delivering newspapers in the middle of the night. I got up every morning at 3:30. Yes. Rode my bicycle. I ridden, monté en bicicleta. I rode my bicycle to a primary school. A car arrived with the newspapers. I rolled the newspapers, put a rubber band, put the newspapers in the basket on my bike and started pedaling and throwing newspapers to the porches of the different houses in my route, mi ruta, my route. And then I got home at 5:30, went to bed until 7. Every night for about 10 months, every night, including Saturday and Sunday, Christmas, New Year's. There's no holiday. So I couldn't get sick. I couldn't get ill. I couldn't fall ill. I couldn't get sick. So but I received $60 a month. I was 14 and 15 years old basically. $60 a month in 1968, 1967 and 1968. So, and $60 a month was a lot of money in 1967 or 1968. 1967, I think. So I received $60 a month. I received for 2 hours a day of work. That's 30 days in a month. That's 60 hours. So in essence, I received $1 an hour. My next job, when I was 16, I was a paper boy. Excuse me, a sacker, putting the items in a grocery store, a supermarket. Yes, and putting the items into a sack or a bag for the ladies, usually housewives, or carrying it to the car. I received $1.60 and tips if I carried the bag or the sacks to the car. I usually received a tip from the housewife or the mother, etc. So I received $1.60. My third job was in a pizzeria, and I received only $1 an hour, but I received tips from the tables because I was waiting on tables. So probably I received about $2 an hour. Okay, raised. I was raised in Texas and Oklahoma. Fui criado. Me criaron. Me educaron. Fui educado, criado. I was raised. I was brought up in Texas and Oklahoma. I was raised in Houston, Texas and Tulsa, Oklahoma. Yes. My children were raised in Madrid, Spain. Yes. I raised my children in an American way more than a Spanish way. Raised. Yes. The level. You see the blue pencil. The blue pencil is above the brown pencil. You remember, above. Now this pencil, now the blue pencil is a plane, okay? An airplane. And it's going to fly over the brown pencil. This plane, this blue plane is going to fly over the brown pencil. Watch. All right. It flew over the brown pencil. How many times did it fly over the brown pencil? It flew over the pencil once. And now it has flown under. To go over, under, over, under. This is above. This is now both are planes. This is a brown plane and a blue plane. They're flying at different altitudes. At 37,000 feet, at 34,000 feet. So the blue plane is flying above. Not over, but above. And the brown plane is flying below. Above and below. Over, under. Ahora bien. Now the pencils are under the table. No sitio below. On the table, under. But in this case, it's above. All right. And I'm going to raise the level. El nivel de este lápiz. I'm going to raise it. I'm raising it. Now it's closer to the blue pencil. The blue pencil is still above the brown one. Now I'm going to raise the brown pencil a little more. Now it's closer. Now I'm going to raise it more. I'm slowly raising the brown pencil. The blue pencil is still above the brown pencil. Now I'm lowering the brown pencil. To raise and to lower. To raise and to lower. When a ship, now the brown pencil is a ship, and the ship is entering the Panama Canal. Canal de Panama. The Panama Canal. And it's entering. from the Caribbean, and this ship wants to go to the Pacific on the other side of the Isthmus of Panama. And so the ship enters the first lock. Lock como cerradura. Lock. Sin embargo, lock aquí es esclusa. La esclusa. So it enters the first lock. And the engineer raises the water level to the next level. So the ship goes up. Why does the ship go up? The ship rises like the sun rises. The ship rises or goes up because the engineer or the technician is raising the water level, elevando el nivel del agua. And then the ship is ready to enter the next lock. And again, the engineer raises the water level. Finally, when it reaches the top, then the engineer lowers the water level. And then the ship passes to the next lock. And the ship goes down because the engineer is lowering, to raise and to lower. ¿Recuerdas el operador del puente leverizo en el medioevo? When the king was coming, he lowered the drawbridge for the king to enter the castle. After the king, or the lord, el señor del castillo, after the lord entered the castle, he raised the drawbridge. So a drawbridge operator, operador de puente levadizo, the drawbridge operator, his job is to raise and lower the drawbridge. Bridge is puente, drawbridge is puente levadizo. So that's the only thing a drawbridge operator does is to raise and lower the drawbridge. And he can't sleep on the job. If he's sleeping and the Lord comes and says, "Hey, Johnny, the bridge." Johnny. And if there's a danger, so Johnny needs to stay awake if he's the drawbridge operator. Rained. It rained all day and it rained all night. You remember? It rained all day and it rained all night. Rained all. Parece que estoy diciendo una muñeca de lluvia, ¿no? Rain, doll. Doll is muñeca, doll. Hello, Dolly, doll. Lluvia is rain. Rain doll. Así es como decir rained all night. Llovió toda la noche. It rained all night. A mí me cuesta decirlo así. It rained all night. Wow, that's difficult. It rained all night. La D descaradamente se une a all. Rained all. Rained all. It rained all night, rained all day, and it rained all night. It rained all day, and it rained all night. It snowed all day, and it snowed all night. Snowdoll. Una muñeca de nieve, a snowdoll. It snowed all day, and it snowed all night. Rained, preferred. Yes. When I was younger, I preferred to teach with a blackboard. Now I don't. I prefer to teach without anything. Maybe, well, with pencils and pictures. Yes. I prefer, it's not true. I have never used a blackboard. Well, never, no. But I have very seldom used, very seldom es muy raras veces, I have very seldom used a blackboard. If there's a blackboard in my classroom, I use it once a month, twice a month maybe. I don't like to turn around with my back to the students. I like to have the students in front of me, receiving the impact of my voice in my eyes, all right? That's what I prefer, because then they pay attention. If I turn my back in writing on the board, it's a waste of time. Anything in the classroom, anything that can be done by the student at home should be done at home and not in the class. When a teacher says, "Okay, boys and girls, read the page 1 and 2, and we will discuss it when you finish." And so during the class time, the students are reading for 5 minutes, page 1 and 2. That's a very poor use. That's a very inefficient use of class time. They can do that at home. But in any case, rained all day, pulled. You remember, I said to Marta, I'll push the table and you pull. So I pushed and she pulled, but it didn't work. And I said, okay, Marta, look, let's try again. Let's try again. En español diríais, intentémoslo de nuevo, con el lo. En inglés, no. Let's try it again is probémoslo, catémoslo. I said, let's try again, Marta. Let's try again. I'll push and you'll pull, okay? And so I pushed harder. I said, harder. Come on. I pushed harder and she pulled harder. And we couldn't move the table. It didn't budge. So finally we decided to lift the table and carry it. So I lifted, I said on the count of 3, and I lifted and she lifted. We lifted simultaneously. We lifted the table simultaneously, and we moved it. We carried it over there. And that's how we do it now. But the first time we tried to push and pull, and I pushed and she pulled. I pushed and she pulled, but it didn't work. It didn't work. Okay, prepared. I prepared this class. I didn't prepare this class. I'm sorry. I didn't prepare this class. But I prepared this class 25 years ago. I prepared this class 25 years ago. Right here, point 14, page 276. So I prepared this class. I prepared everything. I prepared everything. I prepared everything. Otra vez la D se enlaza con la vocal de la E de everything. I prepared everything 25 years ago. So these classes are super prepared. Planned. I planned originally when I was 20, when I started working, when I was 22, I planned to become a millionaire by the age of 30. Yeah. I planned to become a millionaire by the age of 30. But I didn't succeed. I failed. I didn't become a millionaire. So at the age of 30, I modified my plan. And I planned to become a millionaire by the age of 40. All right. I worked very hard, but I didn't succeed. I didn't become a millionaire by the age of 40. I failed. I failed in my attempt. Fracasé en mi intento. En mi iniciativa, mi empresa. I failed in my attempt. So at the age of 40, I changed my plan. I modified my plan, and I decided to become a millionaire. I planned to become a millionaire by the age of 50. And again, it's the same. Still, I'm still planning. I'm planning to become a millionaire by the age of 100 now. Yeah. By the time I reach the age of 100, surely I will be a multimillionaire, right? And I can buy a private jet. Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? Pulled, preferred, played. The first sport that I played seriously was baseball. The first sport I played seriously, baseball, because I started playing baseball when I was 6 years old. All right. Infantiles, yeah, when I was 6. The second sport that I played seriously was running, track and field, athletics, when I was 7 or 8 years old. The third sport I played seriously was golf. I started playing when I was 9 years old, and I played every week, sometimes every day. I played a lot. I played golf a lot when I was 9, 10, 11, 12, etc. I played a lot. The fourth sport I played seriously was American football, and I played it all the time. The fifth sport I played seriously was basketball. It's interesting. I wasn't a good basketball player until the age of 12, 13. The house next door to my house had a basketball backboard, and nobody was living there. The people who were renting the house left, and there was a period of about 3 or 4 months. There was a period of time of 3 or 4 months in which the house was empty, unoccupied. And so I bought a net. I remember my father took me to a sporting goods store and I bought a net, la red, compré una, and I put a ladder, la escalera, and I remember putting it didn't belong to me, it was another person's house, but nobody was living there. And so I spent 3 or 4 hours a day playing basketball with imaginary opponents, imaginary teams. Myself and other people, I gave them names and we were playing constantly. 3 hours a day. And I became a very good basketball player. Hard work. Lady Luck was smiling on me. Hard work. And so when I think I was 13. So I played. Now, when I was 7 years old, I didn't play any musical instruments. When I was 9, I played the piano. I started playing the piano. And I played the piano for many years. I still play the piano today. But I didn't play any other instruments. But when I was 14, I started playing the guitar. And I played the electric guitar until the age of 20. At the age of 20, I changed, I developed, I learned to play the classical guitar. And Richard, yeah. Did you play the guitar yesterday? Yes, I did. I played the guitar yesterday. What music did you play? I played 3 pieces. Really? What did you play? I played Swan Lake. Swan Lake. Yeah, by Tchaikovsky. You know? Lago de los Cisnes. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. I played that. What else did you play? I also played a song by Neil Young. And I don't remember the name of the song. I think it's called Don't Let It Get You Down. I think. I played a part of a song by Neil Young. And what was the third song you played? The third song I played was The Merry Widow. The Merry Widow? La María Viuda? No. La Viuda Alegre. Como like Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, The Merry Widow. I've never heard of it. It's an opera. It's musical theater, German musical theater. How does it go? How does it go? ¿Cómo va? ¿Cómo va? ¿Cómo es la canción? Se dice así. Yes. Para que me lo silbes o me lo cantes. How does it go? The song. La da 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 da. It's a waltz. Es un vals. La da 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 da. La 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 la. It's very famous, and I like it. So I know how to play it. So I played The Merry Widow. It's not a difficult song to play. All right. So owned. How many houses have you owned in your life? I don't know. I've owned a few. I've owned maybe 5 or 6 houses in my life only. Have you ever owned a slave? Yes, I have about 20 slaves now working for me. No, I've never owned a slave. Slavery was abolished many years ago. In the United States, slavery was abolished, abolido, o abolida la esclavitud. Slavery was abolished in 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation from Abraham Lincoln. They abolished slavery. Slavery was abolished in the Soviet Union, in Russia, ¿qué digo yo? Slavery was abolished in Russia around 1860. Before that, slavery existed everywhere. And now it exists today in certain points on the planet. And indirectly, slavery still exists. I'm a slave. Yes, I'm a slave to your English. I'm a slave. I have to come here. They pay me a salary, and I come here. It's a different type of slavery, right? Okay. So, owned. I have never owned a slave. Never. I have never owned a boat. I have never owned a private plane. I've never owned, I don't know, a gun. I've never owned a gun. All right, offered. Yes, I offered you, up to now, I have offered you 280 classes. Do you want more? I can offer you more classes. Yes. Last year I offered you about 260 classes, 250 classes. Offered. Yes. Have you ever been offered a job? I've been offered jobs over the years. I've been offered, voz pasiva aquí, he sido ofrecido, o me han ofrecido. I've been offered a lot of business opportunities. Offered. All right, lived. I lived in Texas for 12 years. And I've lived in Spain for a long, long time. And I'm still living and teaching in Spain, and I will continue teaching tomorrow.